Have you ever stopped to think that what's on your plate is shaping not just your body, but your mind, your mood, and your ability to think clearly? Every bite you take becomes part of your brain's chemistry. Every meal is a decision, one that either fuels your brilliance or clouds your potential. The truth is, your brain doesn't run on willpower alone. It runs on nutrients, and the kind of fuel you give it determines how far you'll go. Think about this. Your brain is only about 2% of your body weight, yet it consumes over 20% of your daily energy. That means your breakfast, your lunch, your midnight snack, all of it, becomes the energy that powers your thoughts, your creativity, your focus, and even your joy. When you feed your body processed junk, high sugar, and artificial ingredients, you're essentially giving your brain low-grade fuel. It struggles. You feel foggy, forgetful, irritable. But when you nourish it with the right foods, omega-3 rich fish, leafy greens, nuts, berries, and whole grains, you ignite your mental fire. Suddenly, ideas flow, your focus sharpens, and your emotional balance strengthens. Let's talk about mood. How many times have you reached for sugar when you felt down, or caffeine when you were tired? We all do it. But here's what happens behind the scenes. Sugar gives your brain a temporary spike in dopamine, the feel-good chemical, followed by a crash that leaves you anxious and drained. Caffeine might jolt you awake for a moment, but too much can exhaust your adrenal system and disturb your sleep. On the other hand, foods like salmon, chia seeds, walnuts, and avocados feed your brain healthy fats that build flexible cell membranes, keeping your mood stable. Complex carbs from whole foods help release serotonin slowly, so you feel calm and focused throughout the day. Food isn't just fuel, it's communication. You're literally talking to your brain with every meal you eat. Now, let's talk about memory and focus. The antioxidants in blueberries, the polyphenols in dark chocolate, the curcumin in turmeric, all these nutrients protect your brain cells from oxidative stress, which is one of the biggest culprits in cognitive decline. They improve blood flow, enhance neuron connectivity, and even stimulate new brain cell growth. Imagine that. You can actually eat to grow your brain. That's not just science. It's empowerment. You have the power to shape your mind one bite at a time. So the question becomes, what message do you want to send to your brain today? Every time you choose fresh vegetables over fries, water over soda, or home, cooked meals over takeout, you're telling your brain, I'm investing in you. I'm building clarity, focus, and resilience. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about understanding that the small choices you make daily add up to enormous changes over time. Your brain is your most powerful asset. It's the command center of your dreams, your relationships, your purpose. And the way you treat it, what you feed it, will determine how brightly it shines. So start making food choices that honor your potential. Choose meals that make you feel alive, alert, and inspired, because when your brain is nourished, your life is unstoppable. And that, my friend, is how you turn eating into empowerment. The connection between what you eat and how your brain performs is one of the most profound yet underestimated relationships in human health. For decades, we've been taught to think about food in terms of weight, fitness, or heart health. But rarely do we consider how deeply it shapes our thoughts, memory, and emotions. Yet the truth is undeniable. Your brain is built and powered by what you put on your plate. The nutrients, fats, and vitamins you consume directly determine how effectively your neurons fire, how balanced your mood feels, and how clearly you can think in moments of pressure. The brain is an energy-hungry organ. Despite making up only about 2% of your body weight, it consumes roughly 20% of your daily energy. That means every time you eat, you're refueling a machine that never stops running. It's controlling your heartbeat, your breathing, your emotions, your creativity, all simultaneously. Imagine feeding a race car low-quality fuel. It won't run at its full potential. The same applies to your brain. A diet heavy in processed foods, refined sugars, and trans fats clogs the brain's engine. It inflames the neurons, slows communication between cells, and leads to that sluggish, cloudy feeling many of us have come to accept as normal. But that fog isn't normal, it's a sign of poor nourishment. When you begin feeding your brain premium fuel, Foods rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and omega-3 fatty acids, you'll feel the transformation almost immediately. Omega-3s, found in fish like salmon and sardines, as well as in flax seeds and walnuts, help build cell membranes in the brain and improve communication between neurons. This not only sharpens focus, but also supports emotional regulation. Antioxidant-rich foods, such as berries and leafy greens, act like armor for your brain cells. They protect against oxidative stress, a process that damages cell structures and contributes to aging and cognitive decline. Whole grains and legumes, packed with complex carbohydrates, provide a steady release of glucose, the brain's main energy source, keeping you mentally alert and energized throughout the day. On the flip side, let's look at what happens when the wrong foods dominate your diet. High sugar and processed foods cause your blood sugar to spike and crash, leading to mood swings, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating. Over time, this constant roller coaster of glucose levels can contribute to insulin resistance in the brain, impairing memory and cognitive function. Trans fats, commonly found in fried and packaged foods, literally change the structure of your cell membranes, making them rigid and less effective at communication. Inflammation builds up, neural pathways weaken, and your ability to think sharply begins to dull. These foods don't just affect your waistline. They affect your mind, your decisions, your emotional stability. One of the most fascinating aspects of this connection is how quickly the brain responds to dietary changes. Within just a few weeks of adopting a nutrient-rich, whole, food-based diet, people report clearer thinking, better focus, and improved mood. This isn't magic, it's biochemistry. When your brain receives the right ingredients, neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and acetylcholine are produced in healthy, balanced amounts. These chemicals are responsible for happiness, motivation, learning, and memory. A nourished brain doesn't just perform better, it feels better. Nutrition also plays a role in protecting the brain from long-term diseases. Diets high in healthy fats, antioxidants, and plant-based nutrients, like the Mediterranean diet, are consistently linked with lower risks of Alzheimer's, dementia, and depression. Why? Because these foods reduce inflammation, improve blood flow to the brain, and provide the raw materials your neurons need to repair and regenerate. Your brain, much like your muscles, is constantly changing and adapting. It's called neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections and pathways. The better you feed it, the stronger that adaptability becomes. So when you think of food, don't just see calories or taste, see potential. Every meal is a choice between clarity or confusion, energy or exhaustion, growth or stagnation. Food is information for your brain. It tells your cells how to behave, your hormones how to respond, and your mind how to perform. Imagine what you could achieve if every thought, every idea, every creative spark came from a brain that's fully fueled, deeply nourished, and ready to perform at its best. That's not just science, it's possibility. And it begins with something as simple, as powerful, and as personal as what's on your plate. Your brain is the most intricate organ in your body, a symphony of over 86 billion neurons communicating every second, coordinating thoughts, memories, emotions, and decisions. But just like an orchestra can't perform without its instruments, your brain can't function at its best without the right nutrients. Every mineral, vitamin, and molecule of fat or protein plays a role in shaping how your brain performs. And when you understand which nutrients your brain thrives on, you gain the power to shape your memory, focus, and even your mood with precision and intention. Let's start with the basics. The brain is made up of nearly 60% fat, and much of that fat is DHA, a type of omega-3 fatty acid. DHA is found in abundance in fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, as well as in plant-based sources like chia seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts. These healthy fats are not optional, they are essential. They form the cell membranes of your neurons, keeping them flexible and efficient at transmitting electrical signals. When your diet lacks omega-3s, those cell membranes become rigid, slowing communication between brain cells and dulling cognitive performance. Over time, this can contribute to mood imbalances, anxiety, and even depression. On the other hand, when you nourish your brain with omega-3s, you literally enhance the speed and clarity of your thoughts. You strengthen memory, focus, and emotional stability at the cellular level. Next, let's talk about antioxidants, the brain's natural shield. Every thought you have, every emotion you feel, and every stress you encounter creates oxidative stress in your brain. That's a fancy way of saying your brain produces free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cells. Antioxidants are your body's defense system. They neutralize those free radicals and protect your neurons from damage. Foods rich in antioxidants, like blueberries, dark chocolate, turmeric, spinach, and green tea, don't just prevent decline, they actively enhance performance. Blueberries, for example, contain compounds that improve communication between neurons in memory centers of the brain, while curcumin from turmeric reduces inflammation and boosts the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, a protein that encourages new neuron growth. Think of antioxidants as your brain's internal repair crew, working behind the scenes to keep your mental machinery running smoothly. Then we have the B vitamins, especially B6, B12, and folate. These vitamins are crucial for producing neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which control your mood and motivation. Without enough B vitamins, the brain struggles to produce these chemicals efficiently, leading to feelings of fatigue, irritability, and even depression. Whole grains, leafy greens, eggs, and legumes are excellent sources of B vitamins. And when you combine them with other nutrient-rich foods, you create the biochemical balance that allows your brain to operate in harmony. Another key player is glucose, the brain's main source of energy, but not all glucose sources are equal. The quick jolt from refined sugars may give you a burst of energy, but it's followed by an inevitable crash that leaves you tired, unfocused, and moody. In contrast, complex carbohydrates found in whole grains, fruits, and vegetables release glucose slowly, keeping your brain fueled steadily throughout the day. That steady energy supports better focus, longer attention spans, and improved problem-solving skills. When you skip meals or rely on processed snacks, your brain feels it immediately. You lose concentration, your patience wears thin, and your creativity takes a dive. And let's not forget minerals like magnesium, zinc, and iron. Magnesium calms the nervous system, reducing stress and anxiety. Zinc supports memory formation and learning. Iron ensures that oxygen flows efficiently to your brain, energizing every cell. Even slight deficiencies in these minerals can lead to brain fog, poor concentration, or fatigue. It's a reminder that mental clarity isn't about luck, it's about chemistry. Finally, hydration plays a vital role in brain performance. Your brain is about 75% water, and even mild dehydration can impair focus, memory, and decision making. When you drink enough water, you're not just refreshing your body, you're refreshing your mind. So imagine your brain as a masterpiece in progress, sculpted by every nutrient you provide. When you give it what it needs, omega-3s for structure, antioxidants for protection, B vitamins for communication, complex carbs for steady energy, you're creating an environment where clarity, creativity, and confidence can flourish. You're programming your brain for success, one meal at a time. Your diet can either be your brain's greatest ally or its greatest obstacle. Every choice matters: the breakfast you eat, the snacks you grab, the dinner you prepare. Because your brain is always listening to what you feed it. Give it the language of nourishment, and it will reward you with sharper thinking, stronger memory, and a brighter, more balanced mood. This is not just eating to live, it's eating to think, to feel, and to thrive. We live in a world that celebrates multitasking, scrolling through screens while eating, grabbing meals on the go, or mindlessly consuming food while distracted. But here's the truth: the way you eat is just as important as what you eat. Mindful eating isn't about diets or restriction, it's about awareness, being present with your food and understanding that each bite has the potential to influence your brain's energy, focus, and emotional balance. It's about turning eating from an automatic act into an intentional ritual of nourishment. Mindful eating starts with awareness of your choices. Too often, we eat based on emotion rather than need. Stress eating, boredom snacking, or using food as a reward. These habits create a disconnection between our body and mind. The brain and gut communicate constantly through what's called the gut-brain axis, a direct pathway that sends messages between your digestive system and your central nervous system. When you eat under stress or distraction, digestion is compromised, your brain receives signals of distress rather than satisfaction, leading to poor nutrient absorption, fatigue, and irritability. But when you slow down and engage your senses, smelling, tasting, and truly experiencing your food, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest mode. This allows your body to break down food efficiently, absorb nutrients more effectively, and send calm, clear signals back to the brain. Mindful eating also means tuning into your body's cues. The brain is remarkably responsive. It tells you when you're hungry, when you're full, and even what kinds of nutrients you might be craving. But when we eat quickly or mindlessly, we override those signals. We eat past fullness or grab whatever's convenient rather than what's nourishing. This can lead to overeating, energy crashes, and inflammation, all of which affect your cognitive performance. When you pause before eating, take a breath and check in with how you feel, you begin to align your choices with what your body truly needs. You give your brain and gut the space to communicate clearly. One of the most profound effects of mindful eating is on mood regulation. The gut produces about 90% of the body's serotonin, in the neurotransmitter that stabilizes mood and promotes well-being. When you eat balanced meals filled with fiber, probiotics, and omega-3s, you nurture a healthy gut microbiome, which in turn supports mental clarity and emotional resilience. On the other hand, processed foods, excessive sugar, and artificial additives disrupt this delicate ecosystem, contributing to anxiety, mood swings, and brain fog. So, eating mindfully isn't just about savoring flavors. It's about building an internal environment where your mind can thrive. Imagine this simple moment, sitting down with a bowl of fresh, colorful food. You take a moment to appreciate it, the texture, the aroma, the colors. You chew slowly, allowing the enzymes in your mouth to begin digestion. You notice the subtle sweetness of fruit or the richness of olive oil. In that act of presence, your body relaxes, your brain releases dopamine, and your mind becomes centered. It's a meditative experience, one that transforms ordinary eating into nourishment for both body and mind. Mindful eating also empowers you to make wiser choices in the long run. When you're present with your food, you start noticing how different meals make you feel. You realize that certain foods leave you energized and focused, while others leave you sluggish and unfocused. You become your own scientist, observing and adjusting based on what enhances your mental clarity. Over time, this awareness creates a powerful feedback loop. You eat better, your brain performs better, and you naturally want to keep nourishing yourself in that way. Incorporating mindfulness into your meals doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. Start with small shift. Turn off screens while eating, chew slowly, express gratitude for your food, and listen to your body's signals. As you cultivate this habit, you'll find that food becomes more satisfying, your energy levels stabilize, and your mood improves. You'll begin to notice that your thoughts are sharper, your focus lasts longer, and your mind feels calmer. That's the brain responding to harmony, to the balance between nourishment and awareness. Food isn't just about calories, it's about connection. When you eat mindfully, you connect with your body, your brain, and the moment you're in. You create a partnership between your thoughts and your choices, where food becomes a tool for growth rather than a reaction to emotion. This practice allows you to harness your full mental potential, because when your eating becomes intentional, your brain becomes unstoppable. That's the power of mindful nourishment, a path to sharper focus, balanced emotions, and lasting vitality, one conscious meal at a time. Everything you think, feel, and dream begins with the food you eat. The connection between your diet and your brain isn't a vague idea. It's a living truth that unfolds with every bite, every choice, every moment of nourishment. You have the power to fuel your brain not just to survive, but to thrive. Every nutrient that enters your body becomes part of your story, shaping how you focus, how you feel, and how you face the world each day. We've seen that the food you eat is more than energy, it's information. It tells your brain how to function, how to repair, how to grow. When you give it whole, nutrient-rich foods, loaded with omega-3s, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, you are giving it the tools to perform at its highest level. You're building sharper thoughts, steadier emotions, and stronger resilience. You're crafting a brain that doesn't just get through the day, but leads it with clarity and confidence. But this transformation isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. You don't have to overhaul your diet overnight. You start small. You choose a handful of nuts instead of chips. You swap sugary drinks for water. You pause before a meal, take a breath, and remind yourself that you are feeding your potential. That single act of mindfulness transforms eating from a habit into a form of self-respect. Because when you eat with purpose, you begin to live with purpose. The science is clear, but so is the spirit behind it. Your brain is capable of greatness when it's properly fueled. When you choose foods that love your brain back, your thoughts become clearer, your energy becomes steadier, and your mood becomes brighter. You begin to notice life differently, not just reacting, but creating. That is the real power of nutrition. It gives you control over your mental and emotional landscape. So today, make a promise to yourself to honor your brain with nourishment that supports its brilliance. Eat foods that energize your mind and inspire your spirit. Let every meal be a declaration that you are choosing clarity over confusion, vitality over fatigue, and growth over stagnation. The power is already within you. You simply need to feed it. Your brain is your most valuable asset. Protect it, fuel it, celebrate it, because when your brain thrives, every part of your life begins to flourish. Remember, the path to a sharper mind, a balanced mood, and a vibrant life doesn't start in your mind. It starts on your plate.